So somebody asked me to kind of give them some troubleshooting tips on where to go with the driver heated seat malfunctioning. So what I have here is I have the heated seat Bible. Here's basically a quick view of what's going on in your driver door connector wise. The only thing that you're going to find in your driver door is the C538 right here, the switch. It's the only thing that has to do with your driver heated seat. There's a module in the passenger door that actually is the control for both of them. And then here is the passenger door, and you'll see here it has its seat heater switch, but it also has the heated seat module, little square box right here, and there's a connector that goes to it. This seat heat module, C681, is the module in question. This is the connector face for that module. And then if you go to pinpoint test L, which is way back here. Oh, we went right to it. Got lucky. Pinpoint test L. Let's look at K as well while we're here. The driver heated seat is inoperative on high. So basically, it's going to give you just a quick rundown on what to check. If the driver heated seat does not operate in high, it can be caused by faulty wiring. It can be caused by a heated seat switch, a faulty heated seat module. So there's three things that they say would be in play if that was the question. So then we go over here. It says for K1, ignition off, depower the airbag system, which typically just means unhook the negative battery terminal for a while and let it all depower. And then when you unhook the negative battery terminal, just turn the lights on a little bit. It'll make residual stuff dissipate. Even though you don't see lights on, it'll help drain things out faster, and then turn them back off. So depower the SRS system, airbag system. Disconnect the driver seat module C315. So remember back in the beginning, that picture with all the connectors. Let's try to go back to that real quick. C315. Oh, we don't have a picture of the seat right now, but C315, I'll put up a picture at the end of this video of what that connector looks like in both the seats, so you can actually see what the connector looks like. But you'll be able to figure out what goes to the heated seats, because you'll be able to recognize they're coming from the heated pads. Okay, so disconnect the heated seat module. Let's go back here. Disconnect the driver seat side airbag C315. Connect the restraint diagnostic tool to the driver seat airbag C315, which we don't need to do that. That's just depowering the system. Disconnect the heated seat module C68 in the passenger door. That's the module connector that I showed you in the beginning of this video. Damn it. This here, just for quick reference, this is C681 in the driver door, or in the passenger door at the module. So disconnect this connector in the passenger door. Measure the resistance between heated seat module C681 pin 11. So pin 11, if the tab is here, is right there. Pin 11 is high temperature switch signal. So you're going to go pin 11 of that connector, measure the resistance between heated seat module C68111, dark green violet, harness side, and ground while pressing the heated seat switch. So while you're pressing the switch, you're going to measure from pin 11 to ground, chassis ground, battery ground. Is the resistance less than 50 ohms when the heated seat switch is pressed? So while you're pressing it, it should be less than 50 ohms. And greater than 10,000 ohms when the heated seat switch is released, not pressed. If it's less than 50 ohms when the heated seat switch is pressed, then install a new heated seat module. And if it's greater than 10,000 ohms when the heated seat switch is released, install a heated seat module and retest the system. And go to, if it's not, then go to K2. K2 says, check the circuit 1020 for an open or short to ground. Disconnect the driver heated seat switch C538. That's the heated seat switch behind the driver door. Measure the resistance between the driver heated seat switch C538 pin 6, dark violet, harness side, and heated seat module over in the passenger door, pin 11, the same one you were just working with, harness side, and between driver heated seat switch, pin 6. So while you're going from the pin of the heated seat switch to pin 11, you're measuring the resistance between those two. Is the resistance greater than 1 ohm between the heated seat switch and the heated seat module? So that means from the pin to the pin, you should have less than 1 ohm. And greater than 10,000 ohms between the heated seat switch and ground. So you're going to go from the pin to the pin here. So you're going from the heated seat switch connector to the connector in the passenger door. And you're going to get less than 1 ohm between that circuit. And then you're going to switch this lead from the connector in the passenger door at the module to ground. And you want to get greater than 10,000 ohms from the switch pin to ground. And you want to get less than 1 ohm through your circuit from the pin to this pin. Let's go to the next one. Is the resistance greater than 1 ohm? Wait a second. Is the resistance less than 1 ohm? The heated seat switch and the heated seat module greater than 10,000 ohms between the heated seat ground. The switch and ground. Yes, go to K3. If it's no, they want you to repair the circuit that you're testing. So if you go to K3, so if everything checks out, everything's fine, it says go to K3. Ignition on, measure the voltage between the heated seat module, pin 11, and the harness side ground. So they wanted to see what voltage is present on that switch. Ignition on, while the key's on, measure the voltage between the heated seat module, pin 11, which still we're on that same pin 11, and ground. Is voltage present? Yes. Repair circuit 1020, which is pin 11 circuit. Test the system for normal operation. No. Install a new heated seat switch. Test the system for normal operation. Disconnect the battery. So there's your pinpoint test for. It's going to be two things. It's either the wiring from the switch to the module, or it's the module itself, or it's the switch. You just have to figure that out. Pinpoint test L. It says driver heated seat is inoperative, does not operate in low. Disconnect the connector in the door, C681. Measure the resistance between the heated seat module pin 12. So 11 and 12 are your circuits for your driver side heated high and low. 11 is for high, 12 is for low. Measure the resistance between heated seat module pin 12 and harness side ground while pressing the heated seat switch. Is the resistance less than 50 ohms when the heated seat switch is pressed and greater than 10,000 ohms when the heated seat switch is not pressed? Yes. Install new module. No. Go to L2. Check circuit 1255 for open or short to ground. Disconnect the driver heated seat switch C538. Measure the resistance between the driver heated seat switch C538 pin 2, circuit 1255, harness side, so that's in the connector at the driver switch, and that switch is in the driver door. And heated seat module pin 12, and between driver heated seat switch pin 2 and harness side ground. So they want you to check from the connector on the driver switch to the module, and then from the connector to ground. And then here's your spec. There's a resistance less than 1 ohm between the switch and the heated seat module, and greater than 10,000 ohms between the heated seat switch and ground. Yes, go to L3. No, repair the circuit. Check for short to voltage, ignition on. Measure the voltage between the heated seat pin 12 and ground. Is voltage present? Yes, repair the circuit. Test the system for normal operation. So this is saying that with key on, there should be no voltage present on pin 12 because you're not asking for the module to turn on yet. So there's a short, so when you do turn it on, you got to short the voltage, so it's not going to work anyway. So is voltage present on pin 12 when you simply just touch that pin and go to ground? Yes, repair the circuit, test the system for normal operation. No, install a new heated seat switch, test the system for normal operation, disconnect the battery, disconnect the restraint system, blah, blah, blah. And then this is basically the same diagnostics for the passenger side, just to show you what you're doing there. They want you to go measure the resistance between heated seat module 14, pin 14, and the passenger heated seat module. So you're going to go from pin 14 to harness side ground, and you should have the same numbers as before. It's the same setup. So the only thing you're doing the same order that you did on the other connectors, except you're going from 14 to ground, then you're going from the switch on the passenger side to pin 14, measuring the resistance there should be less than 1 ohm, or you're actually going to go from that pin to ground should be greater than 10,000. You're also going to check your circuit 581 for short of voltage. So is any voltage present on pin 14 whenever you key on? And then also is the low side for the passenger's pinpoint test N. Same thing, except you're doing the same sequence on pin 15. So you're going to be checking pin 15 for its ohm reading. And then you're going to be checking pin 15 to ground, pin 15 connection to the connector. And then you're also going to check and make sure that there's no voltage shortage. From pin 15 here to ground, with key on, you should have no voltage present. If there is voltage present with key on, that means there's a shorted circuit and it needs to be overlaid. And what I mean by overlaid is the wire cut on one end, or you figure out where it's shorted. But typically what guys will do is they'll cut the wire and then they'll go back to the switch and they'll cut the wire and then they'll run a new one in between those two splices. Yep, that's pretty much it. I know it's a lot, but actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this connector face. All you got to do is find your heated seat switch inside your door, wherever your push button is for high and low. The switch that goes, or the connector that goes to that, it's pretty simple. And I give you the wiring colors here anyway, and that's how you'll figure out where you're going to go do your testing from one to the other. But I'll take a picture of the heated seat connector to the switch and I'll put it in the community tab of YouTube so you guys have it. Thanks, guys. I know this is a little jumbled, but at least you got something to go off of and you can make it make sense.